Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about the updates and changes I'm making to my Rising 6th graders curriculum and my Rising Pre-Kers curriculum. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name's Nicole. I'm a homeschooling mom to 2 kids at home. My daughter is going into 6th grade and she's still 10. And my son is 4 going into pre-K. All right, guys, so today's video is going to be about the things that I'm changing in both my kids' curriculum that really have just come about either developmental changes or me putting together our year and preparing to start and realizing what's going to fit, what's not going to fit, and making some adjustments. So I'm going to start out with my daughter's changes. And the first one, which won't come as a surprise to you if you watched my updated world geography video part 1, I believe, is Traveling the World by Waldock Way. Now, the reason why I'm no longer using this isn't necessarily about the curriculum itself. It just kind of became obsolete or moot because I created a country file that has the same body for every country. I just changed the title of every book to include the name of the country here. And this is just something that my daughter fills out for every country using all the resources that we have. So this is where she would do the flag. She would color in this case, Mexico, but then the inside, the body of this and all the categories are all the same for everyone. If you're interested in more information about this, check out my updated world geography video part 1. I go into it, and I did have requests to put this on my Etsy store. So I have put that, no pressure again, just it's there for another resource. So this is just had so much more information and went into more depth than what the Waldock Way did. I was getting my own resources, getting my own videos, and I just realized that I no longer had a need for it. So that's why we're not using it. Another change that came that may not seem like it's a huge thing, but I'm no longer doing Asia in our geography study. We do a culture and a biome study. And my biome study has just evolved into being so much that in order to do 2 days a week, to be able to manage science and history, which we're also doing, to be able to give the depth and the attention I wanted to all these cultures, I can really only do a continent a day, or excuse me, a continent a year. And these biomes bring so much depth to these geography studies because it's an organic way to show how the people live. Why do the people live that way? Because biomes really do directly affect how people interact and their culture. It also is a great way to bring in wildlife, landscapes, the natural world. So I do like how this is going. I am really happy with it, but we only have time for Latin America. Now, saying that, if I'd realized that, I wouldn't have prepared Latin America because I would have started with Asia, because Asia also encompassed 5 of my literature studies, and they were the books that I was really looking forward to. For example, we had The Green Bicycle from Saudi Arabia, we had Amal Unbound from Pakistan, we had The Bridge Home and or Thirst from India, and When the Mountain Meets the Moon from China. And I don't want to read these because I really do want to incorporate these with our country studies. And honestly, I don't even know when I'm going to get to Asia, because based on the history cycle that she's going in, I'm pretty sure I need to do Africa and European geography before Asia. So we're definitely doing those. I'm super bummed about it, but it is what it is. Like I said, if I would have known, I would have done Asia and then come back to Latin America, but I definitely don't have the energy in me to recreate a whole continent study that's supposed to take years. So, okay. Another one that I'm no longer doing that was part of Latin America is Esperanza Rising. The reason that I ended up dropping that one was because I just felt like it was better suited for Great Depression once I delved into it a little bit more. It's a great perspective from a migrant worker for that time period. So I just didn't want to waste its value in Mexico when it did cover some Mexican culture, but that wasn't the major part of it. Now, I did get a great recommendation from you guys on my last video when I talked about that. And I'm so grateful. Like, that's one of the reasons I love having this channel, is I get such good feedback from you guys. But let me tell you the name. It's Salomar, the Sword of the Monarchs. And this is a fantasy about a princess in a fictional Mexican kingdom who must save her kingdom in the migration of monarch butterflies, which we're learning extensively about when we're studying Mexico. So really excited. That is going to be an independent read for my daughter. Let me talk about the books that we're keeping that I had originally mentioned. We are keeping The Witch of Blackbird Pond. We're also going to still be finishing up Let the Circle Be Unbroken. This is the book that comes after Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. We're also going to be doing Prairie Lotus. I'm actually starting this really soon, I think June 23rd. And we are going to be doing this with the Arrow Guide from Brave Writer. I'm really looking forward to this. I've gone through the first like 2/3 of this, and I think I'm about ready to start. If I like this, I will bring this in more, but I will keep you guys updated on how I like this. We're also going to be keeping The Only Road, which is going to be associated with our Guatemala country study. This is about Jamie. I believe he's 10 or 11. He has to flee with his cousin because his other cousin was killed by an alpha gang, and they want them to join, and it's just a very stressful situation for their family. They have to flee and go through Mexico, and it's a very realistic look on how people live in Guatemala and the things they have to deal with. So really looking forward to this. The novel study that I'm using for this is actually a slideshow by Coffee and Clipboards on Teacher Pay Teachers, and what's really cool about it is each slideshow will start with a section where words for the kids to look for. Those are the vocabulary that they're going to be going over. And she has it on her board where she lists out all of the vocabulary with the visual description that she includes in her picture dictionary. I don't know if I will be doing that, but I do really like having this resource, this picture dictionary that she provides for all the different words that you come across. And I was pretty pleased with these words. A lot of them will be unfamiliar to my daughter. So we'll be using this. Also at the end of each chapter, it has questions for you to go over. But the coolest thing about it is the slideshow, and how she suggests doing this slideshow is marking a little dot on the page in the book where you need to change the slide. So I've gone through this and put dots where I need to so that I know when to change the slide. These slides just show a visual of the characters, of maybe something they're talking about that the kids would be familiar, that is like part of the Guatemalan culture, or what the landscape looks like, or maybe their house. Just so many different things to bring the story to life and give them more context into what they're listening to. So this is meant to be done as a read aloud. Looking forward to that. So I have added additional independent reads and read alouds to replace those, in addition to the one I talked about for Mexico. The first independent read is The Secret of the Andes. This is what we're doing for Peru. My daughter will read this on her own. This is about how the Inca culture is still very prevalent in the Peru world, and how that relates, and how the Andean mountains relate to the culture. So this is a very short read. I think it's just over 100 pages, so she'll be reading that on her own. Another independent book that she will be doing is Lost in the Amazon, A Battle for Survival in the Heart of the Rainforest. This she will obviously be reading as we're doing our Amazon unit. This is about a plane crash that happened in 1970, and this girl is alone in the Amazon rainforest and has to figure out how to survive. So really looking forward to this. My daughter's really looking forward to this as well. So a read aloud that I added is a Rover story. I'm really looking forward to doing that. We're going to be syncing that up with our space unit. We're doing 2 units from the For the Love of Homeschooling. One is called, I think, A Night Sky, and another is Galaxies and Constellations. So we'll be doing either the Brave Writer Arrow Guide for that, depending on how I like it with this Prairie Lotus book we're doing. Or I will be doing another novel study from Book Bandit on Teacher Pay Teachers. I really like her stuff. I don't use everything on there, but she has great questions, great critical thinking activities. So I might do a combination of both. I'm not quite sure, but I do like having extra resources to help me on those critical thinking questions, because some I can come up with on my own, but I do like having that assistance. Okay, so there's one more read aloud that we may be doing with a novel study, and that is Number the Stars. I originally wanted to wait until Europe to do this, but now realizing how long it's going to take me to get to Europe and the age my daughter will be, and there'll be a lot of additional books on this topic that my daughter will then be able to handle, that I would like her to read. I'm thinking we may do this because I have had this since 4th grade. On Teacher Pay Teachers, there's a channel called Thank a Teacher. She has a visual novel study guides. She just has a way of bringing these books to life. I would say even more so than the slideshow I have for The Only Road. And on complicated topics like this, it's really great to give a concept on all of the issues and all of the things going on. So I am going to try and make time for this. Okay, so that is the changes for my daughter. So now let's go on to my son. All right, guys, so for my son's changes, I do actually have some substantial changes to his curriculum. To give you a little background, which I did give you a little bit of background in my preschool picks video, I had not intended to formally homeschool my son till kindergarten, and he turned 6 shortly after kindergarten. It was a Charlotte Mason philosophy that I held on to. But the reason that I gravitated towards that is a few reasons. One, my daughter really did struggle to learn to read. She did go to public school till 3rd grade, and I ended up teaching her to read using 100 easy lessons. That's what my mom taught me how to read on. And it worked well for her, but she did struggle. And on top of that, I'm the oldest of 6, and I have 3 brothers, and all 3 of my brothers ended up being held back. And it took them a long time to learn how to read, and there was just a lot of issues there. And so I just wanted to make sure that I gave my son space to learn at his pace. So when I did hear that philosophy by Charlotte Mason, that's kind of why I gravitated towards it. But I'm also realizing that my son is his own individual, and he is ready to progress. He's 4.5. He will be 5 in October. And I had already been thinking of making these changes, and if you saw my used curriculum sale video, I had gotten all about reading level 1. So I kind of already had decided maybe the route I was going to be going. He's just continually showing me the signs. He's saying letters. He's even saying some sounds. He's able to identify some of them. I will come down in the morning and he'll be sitting there reading a chapter book that he's picked from the library, just pretending to read. He's just, so many things that he's saying and doing has made me realize that I really do need to progress with him more than I had originally intended. So coincidentally, I looked on Facebook Marketplace and found all about reading, pre-reading for a very reasonable price. It included everything, the books, the cards, these 2 books. I'm sure all of you guys are familiar with it, and this puppet. Can we talk about this puppy, you guys, real quick? I'm sure that your kids love it because my kids loved it too. But I have to say these eyes are kind of creepy because they are very realistic looking. My son loves it. I messed around with him and my son, chasing them, pretending to try and eat them, and they just like loved it. But yeah, a little creepy if I'm being honest, but if it works, it works. So before I go into those details, I want to tell you something else that was included in this purchase that I wasn't aware of. She included kindergarten prep by The Good and the Beautiful, everything that comes with it for free, and I wasn't aware of it. So I do have this if I need it. But my goal and intention with All About Reading is to not necessarily do it the way that it's laid out. I saw from Homeschool Together, their YouTube channel, he had talked about doing the uppercase, the lowercase letter, and the sound together, doing 3 lessons in 1 week. I'm thinking I might do that just because of where my son is. I'd also seen another channel talk about doing the uppercase and lowercase together and then doing the sounds after. I'm not quite sure, but I do think I will be doing it a little different. I don't think he'll retain it being spread out like that. I'm not quite sure, but I am definitely going to do it a little differently, and I'll show you. But something that I'm bringing in to give him a little more of a spiral review is this Play Smart alphabet. Now, don't be shied away by the 2+. What's great about this is it goes over each letter. And for example, when you get to A, you're going to trace the letters and say "ah" as you do it. And it's going to go over alphabet and what starts with A's. And so you have a few pages that you can work with your child to help them remember it. So when we've already gone through A, we'll refresh back through all the letters so that he doesn't lose that. On top of that, I had originally been planning on doing Purposeful Preschool by the Waldock Way. I had printed out tons of activities to do with all of the letters, so I will be incorporating this as well for that reinforcement to spiral back so that as I'm going through this, however I go through it, he won't lose it. I will also be doing My First Bob books, the pre-reader collection. This has an alphabet and pre-reading skills. If you saw my used curriculum haul, then you would know I got that there. This is awesome. It was $5. I've got tons of books, so we will be going through this with him as well. I don't know if I'll be using kindergarten prep. I have it. If I need it, I will, or maybe I'll just resell it. One thing I do want to say is that I would like to try teach your child to read in 100 easy lessons, even though I am also planning on going down the All About Reading trail. This works so great for my daughter, and it was so scripted, and I know like people love it or hate it, but I'm thinking after he turns 5, if he's ready, maybe we'll start on it. I know for All About Reading, you do need to know your sounds and your letters, but with this, you don't really need to know anything. You can just go in with no sounds, no letters. So I am going to try this just because I have it. This is a library copy, but my mom actually has my copy. So I may be bringing that in before I go into All About Reading. I have heard that you can transition at some point from this into All About Reading. So I'm going to try it. Another thing that I'm still going to be doing is the Early Years from Blossom and Root, Volume 1. Now, I do have Volume 2. And the reason why I'm not using Volume 2 for the letters and phonics is I did review that before I purchased the pre-reading level for All About Reading. But I needed a little more hand-holding than it gave me. I really like the direct instruction that I get from All About Reading. And I just don't want to skip one. I love this so much because my son loves it. They have literature selections. She brings it to life, whether you're doing crafts or different activities. That's so fun for my son. He looks forward to it. They bring nature and science alive through different activities. You have the art study that my son just is obsessed with. He's getting some really good music exposure through this curriculum, as well as my daughter. He doesn't love that part, but he doesn't mind it. It has a kindness corner part. So this is what I'm doing for everything outside the phonics and letter work. It's just so fun. He just loves it. And when we're done with this, we'll move on to Early Years 2. But I most likely won't be doing anything with the phonics. I feel like I am definitely covered on the phonics part. The last thing I want to show you that I added for my son is these conversation cards. I heard your feelings, reading emotional situations. I got this recommendation from, I think it's Bird Nest Schoolhouse. I'll put her name here. She's a brand new channel on YouTube. She's awesome. She has a kindergartner and first grader. I just really love her channel, so go check her out. She got this, I think this is a Torchlight recommendation. I'm not sure, but this is essentially pictures of a situation, and on the back is questions to ask your child about what they think is going on, what they think that person is feeling based on their face. It's to develop empathy and analytical skills while examining friendly illustrations depicting emotional dynamics in a variety of situations. So like, for example, on this picture, it says, what did Bunny do? What is Rabbit feeling about the flowers? Does Bunny know there is a problem? What would you say to Bunny? So we're going to be incorporating that. I really like it because so many of these social skills, I feel like kids really need and are just so overlooked. All right, guys, so those are the changes that I'm making to my kids' curriculum picks for the next year. If you have any questions, comments, please let me know down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you. If not, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.